Right. Cobeans, can you hear me?
What's up?
Hey, what's up? Is it okay that we're streaming this on YouTube?
I don't care, sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, and Mr. Slave, I do have to go in a couple of minutes. I do have a meeting for work, but
Okay, yeah, so you posted something about a woke mind virus. I'm not,
Cobeans, just one
I have
one
no
sec.
idea what that means.
Right, I'll be right with you. Cobeans, just let me say goodbye to my good friend. So, uncomfortable truth. Yeah, I'll see you later.
yeah, I'll see you
Bye.
guys later.
Yeah,
Enjoy
yeah,
your
sure. Whenever you want.
yeah.
All right, Cobeans, I'm with you. So, you're asking what is what's his name? The woke mind virus?
Yeah, you said this is like some real thing or whatever, that it's like a big issue for you.
Yes, I think it's the solution to it's the great filter, which is a solution to the Fermi paradox. Are you familiar with any of the
Yeah.
terminology?
Yeah, I'm aware of what the Fermi paradox is.
Do you know the great filter?
Yep.
All right. So So the only thing you're not familiar with, or explain, I mean, clarify to me, you've never heard of the term woke mind virus. Where are you on
No,
on
so
these?
I've heard of the term, but the
Hmm.
only people I hear the term from are those who are afraid of it. Those who use woke as something to be afraid of, a boogeyman, something that they will fear. I never hear woke used in terms of outside of that context, really. So woke just seems to me as a pejorative used by anti-progressives to just ignore reality. Unless you have a different definition of woke, from what I'm gathering, it means either there are systemic injustices in this world that we need to resolve, which seems like a very moot statement, or it's some crazy progressive straw man that right wing media pushes.
um. Okay. I certainly sympathize with your analysis of woke and the anti woke and everything around. I sympathize with you. That is actually the intent of the virus. The purpose of the
Well, first off,
virus.
can we define woke? What are you using it as? You know, talking to
Well,
you.
if you have a virus, how can you do you define a virus? I mean, honestly, if
Well, yeah,
no,
a virus is like, well, not really an organism, like pseudo life. It's a physical like thing. It infects cells. It changes their reproduction
yes,
habits or whatever it has to be. I don't know what you're talking about though. This is not a physical thing.
right.
Whenever I hear woke,
Okay, but okay, you know the term meme from Richard Dawkins?
yeah, uh,
Y- do you want me to define it? I don't have a problem defining it so that we're on the same page.
sure. Since you're streaming, go ahead.
Wait, you were cutting out what?
Since you're streaming, like you may as well.
No, 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 it's nothing to do with streaming. I mean, it's just to make sure that we are honestly on the same page. I mean, you can help me with the definition. I never attempted defining a meme, the Richard Dawkins meme. I never looked into what he said originally, but like I'll give you an example of a meme as far as I understand it. So, religion is a meme. It's like it's an epigenetic phenomenon. It's above and
Hmm.
beyond genetics. It behaves like a genetic phenomenon, but it
But it's not an actual like
right,
object. It's not a.
right,
Okay, so
right.
maybe we should stop calling something that's not an object a virus. Let's just call it woke. Let's call it a social epigenetic condition or something like that.
No,
Let's stop misusing terms.
no, no, no. That there's no problem with woke. Woke is not the problem. The problem is when when it metastasizes into a virus. It has nothing to do with the woke. It
Sure.
parasitizes.
I still don't understand what woke is. You haven't explained that to me.
All right, it's just a name. It's like COVID. What does COVID mean? What is
But
my
COVID refers to the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is a physical like object in this world. We
yes,
can point to
yes, yes,
SARS-CoV-2, and that's
yeah,
COVID-19.
yes,
Like
yes.
we know what that is,
Yeah, but the
but I don't know
name.
what woke is.
Yeah, but the name is insignificant. It could have been named
Mm.
something else.
Okay, but in the context of this entire discussion, which revolves around this thing that you're calling woke, what that thing is critical to this discussion,
Fine.
and that's what I'm.
You already said. I mean, what you said is perfectly legitimate. You said woke is there are systemic injustices. You feel that there are systemic injustices, and other people feel that maybe they're not. But the woke people are they awoken to this injustice or to global warming, or they're just more aware, they're just more progressive. It's like another word for
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in the context of like the Fermi paradox and the Great Filter, being anti-woke, such as being against measures to combat climate change, that would be a great filter. No?
Right, right.
Getting over that aversion to resolving our global crisis would be a great filter to the progress of our species, right?
I can understand where you're coming from, certainly, but hopefully after we do the analysis together you'll agree that no, the problem is there is a virus, just like religion or a meme, you can call it whatever you want. I mean, there is an epigenetic phenomenon, there is a natural phenomenon. I think this is the same phenomenon that has brought down every empire on this planet. That's my suspicion. And my suspicion is that that's how empires die, because of this virus.
Well, actually, I'd push back and say the most common way an empires die is by having food shortages. That is like objectively the case in like so many empires across the world. Food shortages, that's when people rebel. People wake up to the fact that, oh, you are not giving us the food that we have. You're making us eat cake. Fuck you. That's how civilizations collapse. Because
Interesting.
the ruling class only has power if those ruled give it to them. Other than that, you get rebellion.
Okay. I mean,
Maybe you can give me an example where people being aware of systemic injustice somehow collapses a society. Maybe point to a specific society, but for France, Rome, Ireland, like so many other places, famine is the number one cause of societal collapse.
but that's. I mean, th- your prognostication of a situation, whether you're right or wrong, there's no problem with that. I mean, you might be right, you might be wrong, I might be right. If let's say, I oppose your opinion, let's say I might be right, I might be wrong. We might both be right. Somehow we might both be wrong. A third alternative is the right one, and we're both a little bit right, a little bit wrong. That's not a virus. That doesn't bring down a civilization. That's
Well,
not
you,
what I would.
you made the claim that woke is what takes down most civilizations, but you have not
No,
even
absolutely
explained to
no.
me how that works
No,
or pointed
no,
to a civilization.
no. Woke does not. No, no. It metastasizes into a virus. That's when it takes the empire down. And
I don't understand how a social epigenetic phenomenon can metastasize into an objective object like a virus. That doesn't make any sense.
no, not an. I'm not. I'm saying it becomes a meme. It becomes a self-replicating, like a religion. It becomes a religion, like every other religion in
Well,
history.
but no, because it's religion relies on unfalsifiable claims, such as there's a God, there's an all-knowing entity. When it comes to claims of there's a systemic injustice, that is not unfalsifiable. You can actually point to objective systems, objective measures, policies, laws, etc., that would show systemic injustice.
L-
This
let,
is a falsifiable claim. It is nothing like religion.
Wait, let me ask you a question. This has to do with the discussion. Is your heart rate rising?
No. Can we stop deflecting from everything? Like the past four responses I've given you to my thing, you deflected onto some vague like speech, or now you're talking about my emotions. Can we just like have a conversation?
Okay, I mean, look, I don't know because I feel that you're getting emotional. Like, I feel that you are becoming emotional, and this is,
I'm not.
but you raise your
I'm
voice.
giving you distinct responses to your claims, and I'm asking you to back them up. And instead of doing that, you're now like deflecting onto, oh, I think you're being emotional, which is irrelevant to my point that I just made.
No,
I
no,
could be very emotional, but that doesn't detract from my
in
point. So
in
can we
this case,
address what I said?
look, I'm just, I think it's evidence. I think we are both suffering from this virus. I'm just more aware of this virus, so I can I have defenses. I've built defenses for this virus. I think this
Yeah,
virus.
yeah, I could tell you're using a lot of them right now. You're calling me emotional rather than addressing my argument. You're like deflecting into just broad claims that, oh, wokeness took down societies, and then ignoring my claim about famine. You're doing a lot of these defensive mechanisms rather than actually engaging with my arguments here.
Okay, so ask me a question.
Right. So can you show me maybe an example of how this quote unquote woke mind virus has taken down any civilization?
That's my latest suspicion. I didn't delve too deep into that, but I can show you perhaps how.
Wait, but
Hmm.
but like 5 minutes ago, you claimed that it was the number one cause of societal collapse in history, but you
I
don't have a single example on hand? Bro, I gave you like five just right off the top of my dome about famine. Like,
Right. I said I added it as in like a cherry on top. I said, and it is my suspicion. This is something I thought of today. I still haven't worked it out. I haven't worked out the details. I don't know if after a deep analysis I'll conclude that it is my opinion. So we might as well ignore that. Um,
okay.
so I mean, I my intuition is that the woke mind virus destroys every culture, every alien civilization. That's why we don't see aliens. It is a great filter. And
No, there's a plurality of other reasons why we wouldn't see aliens. The fact that they're not woke or whatever is probably the most absurd great filtered like reason I've ever heard as to why aliens or other intelligent life haven't contacted us. Ignoring the fact that, they would need huge advancements in technology that we don't even have in order to do that. I don't think being woke fucking matters, I'll be honest.
well, I feel that the woke mind virus, what it does is it creates tension, such as between me and you in this conversation. That's why I think it is. It's not critical that we discuss your current emotional state, but I think in general you see great emotions and you see society being torn to shreds wherever. It's either you join the zombie mob of
But
yes, go ahead.
did you hear my claim? When I came in here, the
Hmm.
zombie mob are
Hmm.
the people who are anti-woke. That's what my prescription is. That everyone who's anti this idea that there's social and inequalities in our society,
Yes,
which there
yes,
absolutely
yes,
are, and this
I
is
agree.
non-religious
I
provable.
completely
I,
agree.
I think being against that, like objective fact, is the virus. That is the zombification. Like I
That's
don't understand why.
yes, the
And the
zombie.
tension in this conversation comes from you not really proving anything. You're just like saying a narrative and then like expecting me to agree with it.
The zombie virus, when it infects the host, seems to convince the host that the non-zombies are zombies. It's an amazing virus. So you become infected, or a person becomes infected. He becomes a zombie. He cancels everyone, and as a reaction, the non-zombies, they see the zombie mob canceling, so they react and they
What
do
does
this
that mean, canceling?
cancel
Like,
culture, like cancel culture. They start writing letters to your boss, to your
but
employer.
the anti-woke, but the anti-woke crowd participates in cancel culture too. Like, just look what
Exactly.
happens with her and Eminem. So, like, this is not a
Exactly.
unique. Well, hang on, but this
Exactly.
is. Wait. But if the cause of this, the negative cause that you're calling a virus here is the cancel culture, it's not unique to wokeness. This is like a thing that everyone does. So I fail to see again why this is a virus to be aware of social inequities in our society. I fail to see how it infects anyone and turns them into a zombie.
I mean, it infects just like every other idea infects, right? You could say that democracy is a meme, right? It's an idea that spreads and it infects the hosts. Communism, socialism.
Yeah,
Any
your own narrative. Yeah, we all know.
What do you mean? Wait, do you agree or disagree?
No, I think these are all social epigenetic phenomena: capitalism, socialism, communism. Your own belief on what wokeism is. These are all just socially constructed ideas that we have. Yeah.
Right. But but okay. Now the what I call the woke mind virus, the way it spreads, I think it's not because people believe it. It's not like democracy that people, you could say, objectively believe it. Like there's maybe evidence that democracy is better than anything else.
Well, better is a subjective term. You can't objectively say something is better, just in general for everything.
I mean, there is a metric to measure
You
anything.
can say it's objectively better for representing the needs of the constituents rather than a totalitarian system where the constituents have no voting power. Yes. But your
No,
idea that representing the needs of your constituents is better, that's a subjective determination.
okay. Yeah, you're making good points. Okay, let me try this. So the way I feel, lately I had a terrible experience where a mob turned against me,
Hmm.
and like these were my friends, and they very quickly a mob formed and they turned against me.
For what?
It doesn't matter. It
Well,
doesn't
no,
matter.
it actually does matter.
Why?
Well, because if you went around and murdered your neighbor, I don't think it's mob mentality for everyone to then shun you.
Well, it cannot be illegal, whatever I did, because they would have filed a complaint with the police if it
Okay,
was
sure, but it
illegal.
could also be morally deplorable.
Exactly. So those are exactly the words that the leader of the mob kept using. Dude,
So
that's
let's.
morally
What if you
deplorable.
cheated on your girlfriend? What if you cheated on your girlfriend? It's not technically illegal, but like, I wouldn't think of you very highly if you did that.
I don't think that a mob would form around that.
Sure, but that's why I'm wondering, what did you do?
Why is it important that you know what I did?
Because because that's what sparked the reaction.
Yes.
It's not like people just decided to wake up one morning and say, "Oh, this guy, we're gonna mob against him for no reason." You did something, and your
Right.
apprehension to tell me what you did is a little bit suspect.
Right. Now you're behaving exactly, basically, almost exactly as the mob behaved. So
Yeah, I'm asking for like cause and effect and
that's,
evidence. This is what's
yes,
called reasonable people. I
right.
want to know what happened. I don't just want to take your word for it as a random internet user. Like, I don't know you.
Right. You don't
So
know
I need
me.
some details so I understand.
Right. You don't know me. So theoretically, you should follow the presumption of innocence and assume that.
No, actually, I'm a skeptic. I don't believe anything anyone tells me until I see it, or at least it makes sense. You see, if you give me details that are things that like you couldn't have just made up on the spot, I'm more inclined to believe your story. But if you're just going to tell me things as a random online, no, I'm not just going to presume you're being honest and correct here, and that everything you're saying is perfectly accurate and comprehensive. That's not what I'm going to do.
Okay, let's change the story. So I've noticed this. I mean, when it happened to me, it's just that suddenly it clicked. Wait, this is exactly what happened to everyone else. So I was not the first person in history that a mob turned against. I mean, canceling happens all the time. I was just the latest victim in a list
Yeah,
of
like we
victims.
canceled the Queen of France after she told us to eat cake, right?
Wait, what? What? I didn't hear you. What?
We canceled the fucking monarchs of France after they told us to eat cake.
I honestly don't know what happened there. So,
Well, the thing is, you're describing these cancellations as if they're just like nebulous things that just occur randomly without any provocation. But like in reality, they're always provoked by something. Be that a monarch telling the peasants to eat cake, or you possibly, I don't know, doing something morally reprehensible that normal people would reasonably find objectionable.
how do you know that the monarch said to eat cake?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's actually just a myth, but you get the example.
That's my point. You don't know, and everyone keeps blaming. I think her name was Marie Antoinette. Everyone keeps blaming her for saying that, but there's, as far as I
Well,
know,
there's been some other things around that attitude of them eat cake. So it wasn't just that they revolved over that statement, whether it's true or not. There was other things that the monarchs did to provoke
like
her
what?
cancellation,
Like what? Give me an
like
example.
like spending so much money on the Champs Elysees to like ignore the citizens' needs, basically depriving everyone of any bodily autonomy by force of the military. The military even revolted against Marie Antoinette. Like there's a whole series of historical events that led up to her quote unquote cancellation. Let's say it's not like people just woke up and decided, you know what, I'm mad. I'm just going to take it out on the queen. That's why when you tell me these stories about your cancellation, but don't want to tell me what you did, it's really like strange to me that you think it's irrelevant because it's cause and effect.
Let's read. I'm gonna retract that part of our essay. So let's say that I just noticed this cancellation. I noticed mobs in general turning against individuals, which were one of the mob. They were actually a part of the mob, and then something happened, and the mob turned against one of them and canceled its member, that member.
Yeah. That something is very important though. You can't just like ignore that. This thing is like critically important to why anyone would do anything and then the ethics behind them doing that. It's like the entire it's like the entire picture actually.
um, is there okay? Let me ask you a question. Agree? Do you agree or disagree? Okay, let's go. Okay, here I have it. The Salem witch trials. That's
Hmm.
actually uh, that I think that would serve as the perfect analysis. So, what's your opinion on the Salem witch trials?
So within the context of believing witches are real and that, you know, whatever the Bible says is valid, everyone in the Salem witch trials acted morally. From the context of an external observer who knows witchcraft is not real and the Bible is a bunch of poppycock, yeah, they were obviously unjust to cancel the witches over their perceived witchcraft. In either case, their moral belief system and the action of the witches are critically important to determining the ethics of the witch trials.
Wait, if you were the judge in Salem, how would you have ruled?
If I'm using the moral framework of the people in Salem who believed witchcraft is real, I would have ruled that they're witches. just like they did.
and burn them at the stake.
Yes. The problem is, me currently, I'm not that person. I know better. I know witchcraft doesn't exist. And so I can say, hey, those actions that those quote unquote witches did doesn't actually justify the cancellation.
What would you have done? Okay, I'm going to transport you now to Salem at the time. You're the judge. What do you do?
Oh, yeah, I would have said witchcraft is a bunch of poppycock, and then I would have been burned at the stake.
So would you have said that?
It's
Would you?
irrelevant. I don't
No.
understand.
No.
What point are you trying to make?
I just made the point. You just made, that's it. I mean, the point has been made. So you see you're afraid of the mob. I mean, you don't have a way out. Either you become part of the mob or you turn against the mob and they just chew you up and spit you out with zero energy. So,
Uh,
and you haven't made a
okay, yeah, I
difference.
mean, Force Majeure has ruled this world for a long time, my dude. That's why I
Wait,
was pointing to France specifically.
I'm sorry, one second. You were cutting out. Please say the last sentence again.
Force Majeure has definitely ruled this planet for a long time. In fact, that's why I was using France as an example. The power of the mob here dictates like the policy action. So, like in the case of that Salem witch trial, I gave you both the example of if I was a resident of Salem under their moral framework, if I was transported today into Salem with my current moral framework, what would happen in both cases, and how to explain that from both present and previous moral frameworks. None of this is irrational, though. If you were a person in Salem and you genuinely believed in witchcraft, what you are doing is ethical.
All right, but I asked you, I told you, okay, let's repeat the scenario. So I said, okay, I'm transporting you to Salem. I'm appointing you the judge. I asked you, how do you rule? And
But
you,
what's my goal?
let
What
me,
rule for what? Do I care about my safety? Do I care about the integrity of the ruling? Do I care about my modern day ethics? What do I care about here?
that's it. I'm appointing you as you are with all your knowledge. I just transported you as you are back to Salem. I appoint you the judge. That's it.
Hmm.
All the evidence has been presented. How do you rule? Burn the witches or not?
Well, yeah, and I gave you the answer. I told you if I was ruling based on the integrity of the ruling, I would say they're not witches, and I'd probably be burned at the stake for it.
S-
I don't
Oh,
see why
so
this is confusing or proves a point.
oh, so you would die at the stake?
Well, that's why I keep asking you, and you keep ignoring me. What do I care about when I'm the judge? Do I care
I'm
about the
at.
integrity of the
Uh,
ruling? Do I care
it's
about my own personal safety? Do I care about my modern ethical worldview? Do I care about the Salem worldview? What do I care about here?
it's totally up to you. You're the judge. I'm taking you as you are now with all your current knowledge.
All
You
right, let's just assume I say no, they're not witches. This religion is a bunch of poppycock. Well, what point are you trying to prove here with this?
you agree that there is a danger that they will turn against you.
Yeah,
So you agree that you are
but
forced.
yes, but the reason they're turning against me is because of not the woke mind virus, but the religious mind virus. The belief in the unfalsifiable claim that someone is a witch, not in the falsifiable claim that there's systemic injustice going on in the society. These are entirely different concepts.
How do you know that the the witch virus is not essentially just a reincarnation, just another reincarnation of the woke mind virus? It's really the same virus ultimately.
Witches existing have nothing to do with the idea that there are systemic injustices in our society. Nothing to do with it.
Well,
Witches existing is magic and witchcraft. It's nothing to do with systemic injustice.
well, well, I could argue, how do you know? The same way that they believed in witchcraft, I would argue, the same way they believed in witchcraft, you believe in systemic um,
But
injustices.
no, but I've already rebutted this when I told you witchcraft is based on the unfalsifiable Christian belief. The belief in that there's a God and that there's magic in this world, but you can't prove it or disprove it because it's unfalsifiable. When it comes to saying, are there systemic injustices in society? We can point to objective laws, objective policies, objective decisions, things that are falsifiable. These are not the same.
Oh, I could easily make the case that um, what you believe is very similar to their belief. I mean, I
Well, then
personally
please do. Please make that case. Stop just saying you can make the case. Make the case.
no, that would be a complete deviation. But my
No, not at all. Not at all. Because the main gripe you're having here is that, oh, these are the same things. The witch people believing in witchcraft and people believing in systemic injustice is being present. These are the same thing when one of them is unfalsifiable belief in God and magic. The other one is a falsifiable belief that can be proven with objective criteria.
um
So if you're going to make the case to me that these are actually the same thing, please do.
it, I don't need to discuss the actual claims of the woke mob. The woke mob, we don't know what the woke mob wants.
Okay, but the Salem witch trials were not done by the woke mob at all. The mob in the Salem witch trials were not woke at all. In fact, they were staunchly anti woke. Because using the power of the court to oppress specifically women over accusations of unfalsifiable magic is a systemic injustice. If they were woke, they would have been staunchly against the witch trials.
No, I'm not saying they held the same opinions. I'm saying the mob the mob doesn't necessarily have an opinion. The mob just everyone follows everyone about something that is it's
An opinion.
an opinion. It could be the belief in witches. It could be the belief in it could be anything. So everyone everyone follows everyone. That's the mob, and then someone turns and says, "Wait a minute," and the mob turns against them.
Okay, but what you're doing here is you're taking an example of a mob,
Hmm.
then ascribing woke to it. Even if that mob and all of their actions are staunchly against the idea that there are systemic injustices in the society, which is how we define woke. Even if the mob in the Salem witch trials stand against every principle of what we define wokeness as, you're still lumping them in to the woke crowd. That's the issue we're having here. And I've given you the material difference between the Salem mob and what we agreed on is woke. The problem is you're just not marrying those two differences, but still conflating them as if they're the same people.
I mean, by all measures, the two scenarios are very similar.
Not by the measures that I provided you regarding objectivity of evidence and falsifiable claims,
Those are
or
just
the belief
those
of systemic injustices. Those are the
those
critical measures in determining if something is woke.
those are just assertions that you could, and you probably heard them during the witchcraft trials.
Well, no, they're assertions that I'm using a modern term, woke, that we didn't exist during the Salem witch trials, and now we're applying it in the context of the Salem witch trials. So if we're looking at it from the idea of which side thinks there are systemic injustices in the society, actually that would be the witches who think that, because they're the one being unjustly prosecuted by the courts. The witches are the woke ones, and the mob is against them here. The
Right.
anti-woke mind virus is at work again. Isn't that crazy?
Look, your claims about the injustice and that the woke mind virus is justified. Oh, sorry, the woke are the justified ones, or your side, let's call it, is the justified one. That's just an assertion. And
Well, okay. Who do you, wait? When using today's ethics system, when you look at the Salem witch trials,
Mhm.
who is in the right?
Who is in the? I mean, it was a mob. Of course, the witches
Mhm.
are innocent. The mob
Okay,
is
so the
guilty, and the leaders of the mob are
guilty
guilty.
of what?
Murder.
Through a system like the courts, right? The witch
Sure.
trials are done through like a court system, right?
Yeah.
So that would be
Yes.
systemic, right? So that's systemic. Great. So we agree that the court systems in the witch trials were a systemic process,
I did
which
not
were
agree.
unjust
I did
and
not
did
agree.
actually exist.
I did not agree.
Okay, wait. Let's back up. You
No,
agree that the witch trials were unjust,
no, the
right?
word systemic. I never agreed to the word systemic.
Okay. Do you know what the word systemic means?
Go ahead, you may define it.
Systemic means enforced by an established system. It's very simple,
Well,
such
that's
as the
by an established system such as the court.
yes, the courts are a form of systemic
Wait,
institution.
wait, the courts with an S, like a plural?
Well, whatever. There was not just one court involved in the Salem witch trials, so I'm
Really?
assuming.
Salem is a town. You had
Hmm.
more than one court?
Yeah, multiple judges in the same building, if you want to call it that, but you get what I mean.
So it was multiple. Are you sure it was multiple judges?
Yes, there normally be a council actually. So
So you're saying because it involved multiple courts, then it's
no, no,
systemic?
no. The multiplicity of the courts is irrelevant. The fact that it came from a court, which is a system, makes it systemic.
So I could argue that anything is a system.
Yes, systemic is a very broad word, so I don't really know why your contention is with that.
Wait, so you agree that everything can be termed systemic?
A lot of things can be termed systemic. Yes, capitalism is for institution enforced through various systems of like I don't know production and supply chain lines. Courts are a great system of laws, policies, and rulings. I don't know. Congress is another system of like enacting legislation and policy and debate. We can go on and on forever. But when it comes to the
Wait,
courts
one
and the witch
second.
trials, they were absolutely a form of systemic
One second.
institution.
One second. Can you give me an example of something that is not systemic?
My car, when taken alone,
Your
it's
car is
not a
not.
system, it's an object. Now, my car, in the terms of like the manufacturing line, that could be part of the system of capitalism. Regardless, this is deflecting from the actual point and the idea that the court system in the Salem witch trial is not systemic, is not a form of institutional system, is like such a moot point
Hold
to
on.
be arguing.
Wait. I mean, the car is not a system. You cannot say the car is a system.
Not in the context of like a systemic institution that we're talking about. When we're saying when we were talking about like
Wait.
systemic oppression, that comes from institutions.
um, define institutions.
An institution would just be any body that governs, set policies, or does any sort of directive, like a court system, for instance, or the Congress, or a company.
Okay. Anyway, okay. So you feel okay. So you feel that the Salem witch trials came from a systemic, right? The courts were it was systemic injustice. That's what you're saying,
Well, yeah, we agree it was unjust, that the witches
right?
were innocent and that the trials were all kind of bogus.
Okay.
What you disagree with is that the fact that they were implemented through a system of courts and laws, you disagree with that being systemic, which is kind of silly.
No, fine. I mean, because in my to my knowledge, it was a one-off incident, the Salem witch trials. So the
That
last
doesn't
thing I
matter.
would call it is systemic. This is like,
Well, that doesn't
mhm.
matter that it was one off. It was still effectuated by an institution and a system.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I
that
honestly,
doesn't
oh,
matter.
fine, fine. I mean, okay. I mean,
Right. So,
the
so then
last thing
going
I would describe it in this case is as systemic because it's a one-off. Systemic means like it needs to repeat and like
no,
no. All
no.
right.
So Jim Crow was a one-off thing that only happened one time, but it is absolutely a form of
Okay,
systemic
okay. I don't
oppression of
want
women.
to. It's okay. I mean, it's fine. I don't see the problem. Okay. No,
Okay,
no. I
great.
mean, I
So we
mean, I
agree
mean,
with
I
unjust.
mean,
We
it's.
agree with systemic.
I mean,
So
it's.
what?
I
So
mean,
we agree then that the mob in the Salem witch trials were not the woke ones. They were the anti-woke ones, and they were infected by the mind virus
I'm
to do
not.
unjust things
I'm not.
that
I'm not.
held back society.
I'm not saying. Look, I can agree with the woke culture on many things, and on many things, I'm even more liberal than the woke philosophy. But this has actually nothing to do. It's like you can believe in witches, but not execute people. A lot of people believe in witches even today, but no one kills anyone, and there's no mobs forming around killing witches. I suspect that this was.
There were wait. There
um,
absolutely were during the Salem witch trials. What are you talking about?
Wait, I you're cutting in and out. What?
During the Salem witch trials, there absolutely were mobs forming. What are you talking about?
Right. During the
He said
Salem witch.
anymore. He said nobody's doing it anymore.
Well, yeah, but that's irrelevant.
I'm saying I'm saying wait, please, no one interrupt, please. So what I'm saying is that now we lost my train of thought. Um so mobs a mob formed around this idea that usually mobs don't form around, even though the idea is consistent throughout all of history today to date. Even today, people believe in religions and people believe in the Bible, and the Bible believes in witches. So, in other cultures too, everyone believes in witches and witchcraft. People believe in witchcraft.
Okay, but that's
Even
not really relevant.
yes, it is. Yes, it is because it's not the belief. I agree with woke on even everything. I can believe in woke on everything, and I could twitch with just say the most insignificant thing, but it would be enough to turn the mob against me. It's
Like what? Can you be specific, my guy?
like look, I'm using the Salem witch trials. I'm using it as an example. So let's
Yeah,
take
but we
that.
run through this example, and it turns out that we both agree the witches were unjustly prosecuted.
Wait,
This was a form
let
of
me talk.
prosecution against the witches, who were the woke ones here, by an anti-woke virus mob. We've already agreed to this. This example is beaten to death.
You are not letting me speak, and you're repeating yourself. So what's the point?
Well,
I
yeah, because
was
you're repeating yourself. You're just repeating yourself, going back to the same example we've already addressed, ignoring all my rebuttals, all my comments. You're just kind of repeating your claim or being nondescript about your answers. I can point to a bunch of other examples that we want to look at of like anti-woke mob viruses mobbing up against people who believe there were systemic oppressions in society. Look at what happened in Europe when the Enlightenment came around. Look at what happened when anyone tried to challenge the church during the Crusades or the Inquisition. These are all the same examples of the Salem witch trials where people are mobbed up against those who believe there are injustices in society.
I was in the middle of the sentence when you cut me off. Please don't do that again. Don't take over the conversation. Don't hog the mic, please. Stop it. Now, if you feel that I'm repeating myself, please let me know. Don't revenge repeat. Just let me know that I'm repeating. I'll stop. So I want to talk about the Salem witch trials. I want to prognosticate it. I think it is the case we need to discuss, nothing else. I think it will give us the answer. I think
Okay, but we've already. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Thanks.
I thought you were done.
No. So the idea of witches has been prevalent throughout all of history to date, since the dawn of time, probably. Even today, most people, even a lot of scientists believe in nonsense. So, and witchcraft. A lot of people believe in witchcraft, have always believed in witchcraft. There was nothing significant that happened in Salem. Why should witches suddenly be persecuted in one town on the entire planet, in basically the entire history of the planet? Something happened. A mob phenomenon was created. The conditions were ripe for a mob phenomenon to form around an innocuous idea that has always existed and probably always will exist. And a complete nonchalant, a complete meaningless idea that people mention without a second thought. Yeah, she's a witch. Yeah, he's a witch. Usually it's women. Usually, I guess it's women. So, and as you said, you expressed already the fear that the judge, probably the most powerful individual in the scenario, you already expressed the fear you would have, whether you would judge for or against. It doesn't even matter, because maybe they would, if the judge ruled for in favor of the witches, maybe he would have been killed, and they would have had retrials and still killed the witches. So he wouldn't move the needle. That's what I'm talking about. That's the mob. Now
Yeah, but the mob.
wait, I'm sorry. Let me just finish. I'm really sorry. I usually don't hog the mic. But see, just like the mob formed around the idea of witchcraft, which has always existed, and it was an emergent. That's why I resisted your idea of the systemic. No, it was completely off the charts. It was completely off the charts. Never
Okay,
happened.
okay. No.
No,
The
no. Well,
idea
let
of
me.
enforcing
I'll just
prosecution
finish. I'll just finish.
against
I'll
witches
let me. I'll just
is
finish.
systemic.
I'll just finish. Okay, I'll just finish. Okay. So I'm saying that the woke mind virus is the same idea. It's an emergent phenomenon that is emerging around the woke ideas, around the woke ideology. It's nothing to do
No.
with the listen. This is my theory. It's nothing to do with whether I agree or disagree with the woke ideas, many of which I agree with. But the point is that the same phenomenon of a mob forming around an idea like witchcraft can form around any idea. It doesn't matter which idea. The mob phenomenon can form, and you see the fear of any individual. The judge would be terrified. So of course every individual is terrified that the mob will turn against them.
Yes, we heard you. We heard you. This you're repeating yourself again.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So So to practice some brevity, which is something I definitely think you should do in the future,
I'm sorry.
we've already gone through all of this. The idea, no matter how normalized witches are, witches can be a normal part of society, but the idea that, hey, we should use a court institution to enforce prosecution on this minority is against what we agreed woke means. So you can't. So then you're saying, oh, but there's a mob and they're influencing the judge and they have all this power and this is a bad thing, which I absolutely agree with you. Mobs should not be influencing judges like that. The problem is that mob is not at all influenced by wokeness. In fact, they're influenced by anti wokeness. They literally want to use a systemic power, the court, to enforce prosecution on a minority, witches, unjustly, because witchcraft isn't real. We agreed to this. We ran through this environment. And then basically what you just did is repeated yourself in a long winded, nondescript way to sort of just ignore everything I just said and now have to repeat myself. So you're just because there's a mob forming does not mean that mob is working on woke principles. In fact, in this example, they are expressly anti-woke. And that's why I'm saying anti-woke is the real mind virus here.
Look, does it really matter what the Salem witch trials were about? I mean, it could have been about anything. Let's say they decided to severely punish people who believed in who were global warming deniers, right? It doesn't matter because you already said the judge would have been terrified because he would be prosecuted next. The mob would turn against him. Why does he need this headache? He's before retirement with a great salary, with a great pension. He is honored.
Because anti-woke is the mind virus. It spawns this mob. Anti-woke is the mind virus that you should be complaining about.
What?
Being anti-woke is the virus that has infected the minds of this mob that is influencing the judge.
No, I'm showing you. Look, let's have a mathematical analysis. So it doesn't matter what idea. Let's replace the witchcraft with X. It doesn't matter what X is. Now
Kind of
the
does.
no. Here we'll do the mathematics.
If X is murder, this
Listen,
wouldn't be unjust.
no. Here, X is anything. X is completely anything. Just it's a placeholder. It's whatever you want it to be.
Well, no.
Literally,
It can't be anything because if it's
I'll
murder
prove it.
or rape
I can
or
prove
some
it.
other crime, then
Let
it's
me
not unjust.
Let me prove it. Let me prove it. Let me go through a quick mathematical proof that it doesn't matter what X is. Once a mob forms around X, you cannot stop it. The mob has to eat through whatever it needs to eat through until it is done, and this
What
might
does this have to do
end
with wokeness?
in a civilization collapse. Wait, what did you say?
What does this have to do with wokeness? This is a mob mentality now.
Exactly.
It's nothing.
That's my
But
point. I'm saying it.
but in every example we've talked
Let
about,
me let
the
me
mob is formed around anti-woke
Mm,
ideals.
let me no. My thesis is that the woke mind virus is the woke ideology can metastasize like any other idea. That's why I'm calling it X. X can metastasize into a virus, into a mob that will destroy civilization. Anything has this
Can
potential.
And I'm still waiting on an example of this. I
I
mean, you pointed to the Salem witch
we
trials,
don't
but that was a terrible example.
we don't need an example because I can show you a mathematical proof.
Could I explain something?
Sure.
So,
Raise your
I
voice,
think,
please.
all right. Well, I think what this person
I
is
cannot hear
saying,
you. You gotta raise your voice. Speak to the mic. I don't know what to tell you.
um, okay. Well, I think what this person is actually saying is that, like, in general, if like media perception of something like the Salem witch trials, like works the crowd into like a frenzy or a mob, that in general this becomes very kind of powerful and hard to like overcome. And I
Mhm.
think he was using the witch trials as an example of this happening. And then I think he was trying to claim that uh, a- another mob has kind of like formed around different ideas. I don't think he
Right.
was trying to say that like the witch trials were based on left wing ideas, right? Like I don't think you were saying that, right?
Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at because he keeps bringing up this mob within the context of woke mind virus. But when I analyze the mob, it seems that they're operating exactly against every principle of wokeness that we agreed on.
But I think he was just using that as an example, and then he was
Right, but
trying to say,
it's a bad example, is my point.
well, no, not an example of left wing principles, like an example of a mob. I think
Well,
that's
yeah,
what this.
exactly. It's just a mob. Like mobs form woke, anti-woke over everything. Mobs mentality definitely exists. This doesn't prove woke mind virus is going to collapse society. In fact, is an example against that. That actually anti-woke mind viruses will collapse society.
Yeah, I think that's basically what he was saying. You know, that a mob
Mhm.
kind of form around any
No,
principle.
I get what he's saying. I just don't think he understands how this doesn't demonstrate woke mind virus is going to collapse society. He's going mob. Woke also does mob. Therefore, these are the same. Salem did bad thing, and therefore society will collapse because of woke. Like it doesn't. This doesn't make sense.
What I'm saying is that woke does not necessarily need to become a mob. I'm saying anything can become a mob. Not really anything, but many things. Like the witch trials were based on the ideas of witchcraft, which have always existed, but they suddenly metastasized into a mob. Things anything, literally anything, like the idea of a witch, which is the dumbest idea, but it's prevalent, always been, always will probably. It has the potential to suddenly metastasize.
Okay, so it sounds like mob mentality is actually the mind virus that you should be concerned about, not wokeness, but mob mentality, which I would agree. Mob mentality is not very good. It leads to like non-critical thought and like just people being NPCs. I totally agree.
Exactly, but once it starts, it can bring down a civilization. It
Oh yeah,
has,
no, totally. 100% mob mentality agree. That's
and
why I pointed to France.
it could be around any ideology, including woke,
Mhm.
including Christianity. It could be any idea, but it could also be woke.
Okay, but it could also be anti-woke. In fact, it's probably
Yes,
more
it could
commonly
be
anti-woke.
anything. It could be anything, but so my claim is that right now there is a very large, powerful mob, international, planetary scale level mob forming around the woke ideology. And this has the potential to bring down our civilization.
Such as where? Where do you see this mob forming?
Anytime you
Like,
hear of someone being canceled because refuted some part of the woke ideology.
so let's take the example of Hershey's chocolate, who's recently being canceled over using a trans woman as their spokesperson.
I I
Let's take the example of perhaps, well, going on the trans topic, the mob forming around legislating their rights.
wait,
Maybe we can continue on to another chocolate, M&M's, which is also canceled, Dr. Seuss, which is also canceled, like Roald Dahl, which is now being canceled. There's so many cancellations. Everyone does this. This isn't woke.
wait. Uh, you're not discussing personal cancellation. You're
Well, when it comes
discussing,
to your like being fired for a job because of comments you made,
yeah, for
yeah,
example.
that's a thing that always existed. I don't understand why this is
Not
woke.
being fired because of comments you made, but I mean, it could be that, but certainly if there is a campaign of letter writing, a campaign to get you fired or to attack your sponsors, if there is a campaign
Mhm.
against an individual,
Yeah.
if the look, you agreed that the mob mentality has the potential to bring down civilization.
Hmm.
So all we need now to prove is that the mob mentality, and you also okay, do you also agree that a mob can form around any idea? If it forms
Yep.
around, wait, you said something?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much any idea.
Okay. So all we need to show now is that there is a mob forming, or a mob has formed around the woke ideology. You
You also have to do a bit more. You also have to show that this mob is the most prevalent mob in society, and that they are the at least primary contributor to some downfall. While this mob could exist, they could be powerless, meek, and meaningless. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Mike is staticky as fuck.
Wait, what?
Oh, never mind. It's better. Never mind.
Um. Anyway, so you what you're asking for now is show me the measures, show me the metrics that a mob has formed around the woke ideology, and show me that it is statistically significant. Show me
Show
metrics.
me that it's unjustified, that it's irrational mob mentality, like in the Salem witch trials. If it's
Well,
justified, that everyone agrees that, hey, there, like, say there's a law that says I can specifically shoot you, Mr. Slave, and everyone says, whoa, that's a little fucked up, man. That's not really mob mentality. That's reasonable.
no, no, no. I mean, I understand. I understand. You're saying that I need to do my due diligence. I need to come with more measurements so that we can do
Hmm.
it more scientifically.
Right, because I can give you a ton of like real measurements and objective laws that would be showing anti-woke is actually declining our society. I've given
I
you a few
don't
already.
dispute. I could be myself woke, and I would still have this discussion, and I would warn other woke people, listen, we are in danger of becoming a mob. Be aware. That's all I'm saying. I might be one of you. I agree with woke on, I would say, most stuff, if not all. I mean, woke doesn't say anything that I disagree with. I mean, woke is, it's all good ideas. This is why it's so dangerous, because the ideas are good. The ideas are progressive. This, I mean, right. So that's not the problem. The problem is that when a mob forms, so if you wink with your eye because you have a grain of sand in your, a hair in your eye, and people think, wait a minute, did he just wink because he is a white nationalist, or who knows what terminology they use these days? Um, let's go after him. And then it doesn't matter. I was like, wait, are you a white
Okay,
nationalist? And then it's game over. Wait, why did you write? Why did you say this? What did you? And then everything becomes evidence, and it's the end of this person. I mean, and there's nothing.
okay, but hang on. But that's a ridiculous straw man example. That has never happened. Okay, let me give you a more realistic example. Do you remember when the OK sign was associated with white power?
Yeah,
Do you remember how some actual like neo-Nazis and like KKK members then started quote unquote ironically posing with the OK sign, clearly indicating that yeah, we mean it's white power. We don't fucking care. Do you remember that?
that much I am not familiar with. I
There were
don't
like a
know.
few. Like it wasn't all that big of a deal because they were mostly just like, KKK LARPers, like really. But they actually were doing that. They knew it was designated a hate symbol and they were doing it anyway with that knowledge. That
Sound
seems a lot more
I don't
directly
know.
relevant to
I
someone
don't.
being,
I
well, hang on,
don't.
hang on. That sounds more directly relevant to being someone a white supremacist or white nationalist than someone just winking at someone, which I don't even know how you got that example. That seems entirely fabricated.
I mean, yeah, I completely fabricated the example, obviously.
Okay, but I haven't fabricated to you any of my examples. All of my examples are real historical events that actually occurred. I don't need to make shit up to argue.
Right. No, no, but you already agreed that a mob can form. It is dangerous. All we need to prove is, well, so correct me if I'm wrong. So all you need to complete the proof is that a mob is forming around the woke ideology.
No, you need something else. You also need to show me that that mob has unjustified beliefs. Like when we talked about witchcraft, you and I both know witches are fucking bullshit. So we can just immediately tell that's unjustified. But if the mob here, quote unquote, is discussing something that actually is justified, like the law that says I can murder you, that wouldn't be unreasonable mob mentality. That would just be like most people agreeing on basic principle.
Wait a minute, but you agreed that if a mob forms, you agreed that a mob can form around anything,
Yeah,
including
yeah.
the. Wait, let me
But what
finish.
you're,
Let me finish. Let me
you know, but
finish.
you're repeating
Let me
yourself. I know what you're saying.
let me
You need to
finish.
also show me that
Let
this
me
mob is
finish.
prevalent and actually does damage.
Wait. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay, if you're
It's
just gonna
not
repeat
fair.
yourself.
You cut me off. No. Um. Let me understand what you need. I'm gonna steel man your demands. If I were you, I would ask for evidence, right? Because you already agreed a mob can form around anything. A mob can form, therefore, around the woke ideology. A mob is dangerous. A mob can grow and destroy a civilization. So all that we need is to show that a mob has begun to form around the woke ideology, right?
No,
What else
nope.
do you
You need
need?
more than that. You
Okay.
also need to show that this mob has unjustified beliefs and that they're not just operating on basic
No,
principles, but actually irrational mob mentality, like in the Salem witch trials
no,
example. Then,
no.
wait, pause.
Wait,
Hang on.
hold on.
Then, wait, no,
Wait,
you need more. Then you need to show me that
wait.
this
I
mob,
already
which has
disagree.
formed,
What's the point of you continuing? I already disagree. I don't, I
because you
mean,
need, you're still not even there to getting to my point. You still also need to show me, whether unjustified or not, that this mob has prevalence in society. This mob could be like 20 people. I don't care.
okay. So let's go to step one, which I disagree with. So, w- so you're saying I'm so So I'm saying a mob can form around good ideas. It's not that the woke ideology has bad ideas that I disagree with. That's the power of this virus. That
But
it's
then it's not mob.
Wait a minute. You said a mob can form around any ideology.
Yeah, yeah, it can. That doesn't mean
So
it always does.
no,
That
but
doesn't mean every group of people who agree with an ideology is a mob.
no. Look. I'm not saying we're doomed. I'm saying we have the potential of becoming doomed if this progresses. Because I'm saying, I think the only missing link between my position and your position is that I believe that there is a mob forming, there is a mob natural scientific phenomenon forming around the woke ideology. And you're saying there isn't, if I'm correct.
No. I'll say that there is a mob. I'll just say that that mob is constrained to like Twitter or things that like no one cares about, that has no power in the real world.
Twitter has no power in the
Yeah,
real
like
world.
it's constrained to like canceling individual people for like them saying really problematic shit. None of this is like an issue.
Wait,
It's a powerless mob. It's a powerless quote unquote mob that actually isn't operating on mob mentality like in the Salem witch trials. That's what I'm arguing to you.
Wait, you're saying that there is a mob, so you're saying that there is a mob forming around the woke ideology?
If your claim is that woke ideology is going to lead somehow to the downfall of civilization, you're going to have to show me that this mob one is actually exists. Which sure, I'll grant it to you. Any group of people with a belief could be considered a mob, but those people could just all be accounts on Twitter that have no actual power and won't actually do anything. So that won't lead to any collapse or change even. So maybe you can give me a specific example of like where this mob affected some societal downfall or some change that'll lead to the downfall. But thus far, we haven't gotten there.
Wait, but you said that some people have been canceled on Twitter?
Sure, but some of them like justifiably were quote unquote canceled on Twitter. Like I don't care. And a lot of those are public figures too, which require a lot of people to voice an opinion against them because they're a public figure.
Wait, so how is this different than the Salem witch trials mob?
Because in the Salem witch trials, what they were oppressing women for was a fucking belief in witchcraft.
We
What
already
we're
said,
oppressing people
but we already said,
with.
we agreed the idea doesn't matter. Any ideology. The mob
What
metastasizes
is
from
mob
any.
mentality to you? What is mob mentality to you? Is it just a group of people that agree on a thing?
No, we said that it has, right, in at Salem, you said you'd be burned at the stake yourself as the judge, as the most powerful individual probably in the town. So of course every individual is terrified. So that's the mob. The mob effect is, it's join us, it's the Borg. It's worse than the Borg. It's join us or die. Join us or become our enemy. So
Sure, but
and
no such
then
thing when it comes to canceling celebrities on Twitter or wherever. There's no like, there's no give or take here. You can just choose not to do it, not engage if you want to.
but then the mob will, you're taking a chance, right? It's like the judge, and you said you'd be burned at the stake. So
Well, no, I don't think anyone's going around saying, "Ha, you didn't cancel X person over their comments." Like, no one's doing that.
mhm. But you said people have been canceled on Twitter
Yes.
by a mob, by a woke mob.
Well, no. The difference there is that in the judge example in the Salem witch trials, the judge is actually influenced by the mob mentality, and so is everyone else in the mob. It's join us or die, as you said. That same dichotomy does not exist when it comes to canceling Twitter celebrities. No one is forced to cancel a Twitter celebrity. No one is forced to even give an opinion. But in the Salem example, they are. If you don't conform with the witch trials, you're probably fucking a witch, right?
So give me an example of someone who was canceled on Twitter, please, by the woke mob.
Let's take Dave Chappelle, the classic one.
Okay.
Would you think that's a fair example? I mean, it's not a real cancellation. You ended up getting like 2 extra comedy shows out of it, but
Another example could be, say, Joseph Cesario or Roland Fryer.
I really wish you spoke like
I couldn't
take,
hear that.
yeah, take a deep breath and let it out. It sounds like you're like you don't want us to hear you. You're killing me.
All right, I was just giving another hypothetical example. Never mind.
No, we need
Yeah,
it.
I did not
No,
mean
I
to give
need
up.
it. It's you're helping me. You're helping me because I am out of the loop when it comes to all of this. Anyway, I'm gonna. I really enjoyed this conversation. I really want to thank you, but I have to cut it short. I can't go on forever. But
I was gonna leave in 5 minutes if you wanted to like do a couple more last points.
no, it's good enough. I need to do my due diligence. You're asking perfectly legitimate questions. I love your objections. They're Very, very good. Really enjoyable conversation. Really to the point. Just fantastic. Really an amazing, amazing discussion.
Yeah, this was pretty
Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'll send you a friend request and I'll ping you whenever. We can continue maybe when I have more evidence and stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just for future reference, I'm a hardcore skeptic, so I don't believe shit until I see it. So
That's perfect.
evidence would be great.
That's perfect. All right. Okay, everyone. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you so much.
Yep, have a good day, bro.
Yeah, you too, bro. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right, let me wrap up. Friendly banter. I don't know. They're mentioning me. I don't know what it's about. Okay, hopefully this was kind of nice. Everybody enjoyed. Let me maybe give them a link to today's YouTube so everybody has a recording debating. Yeah, that's it. So let me leave it here somewhere. Is this the one I just debated? Who did I just? Oh no, I just debated Cobeans. Let me try. I think I found him in climate change. Yes. So let me leave it here. The link doesn't show as like. There's no picture. I don't like it. I wish it would show the thing. Here is a recording. Finishing up now. All right, so he's gonna have a recording. Let me read some comments before we all go and kill ourselves. Oh, there's a lot. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to read all the comments. Wow, that is so great. Let me see. There's a private 10 seconds from Spicoli. Bring me on, slave, or I leave. Yeah, nah, impossible when I'm live streaming a debate. All right, let's go to the end. So RT the brand says Twitter definitely has power. It was Trump's main marketing weapon. Yeah. Also RT, sometimes the mob beliefs are justified against a unjust government, making the mob good, like Biden getting 81 million votes. That was complete BS. I don't know. Let me see. The Uncomfortable Truth says, legendary slave. Thank you. LOL, the breathing. Yeah, I need to breathe. Mr. Slave was deeply impacted by Greg combined events. Oh, I thought it's like a link. Caduceus, Hormaxer, Alex, Tomato, Ashley, Greg. Yes, I was deeply impacted, meaning for the first time in my life, I felt the power of the mob, and I then realized, wow, this is incredible. This has to be documented. Yeah, definitely. RT says civilization isn't at risk, free speech, especially in America. How do you know civilization is not at risk? And we know there is a great filter. We know all civilizations on Earth were destroyed. So, what brought every civilization down? Every empire at the end collapsed. Why? Bring the Alex example. I didn't want to bring the Alex example. I didn't want to bring the Alex example. I didn't want to go into details because then he would cancel me. Sometimes the government is corrupt. Yeah, January 6th was a good mob. I don't know the details of what happened. I don't know if we'll ever find out the details. I honestly don't have an opinion about it. Two, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go into the two. So the impact that fundamentally impacted Mr. Slave thoughts: one, Caduceus Hormaxer accusation incident, Mr. Slave pedo witch hunt. Just my witch hunt. That's it. When it happened to me, it was a wake up call. Then I realized, wow, this has the potential to bring down a civilization, definitely. Because if I'm almost immune to doxing, and if I am threatened by this, then and utter nonsense, I'm threatened by utter. This is a witch. This is literally like the witch hunt. So yeah, I realize this is crazy. Artie the Brand, a male witch is a warlock. I did not know that. The guy is a legend. Lol, please don't over the mic. Please stop it. Please don't over the mic. I don't know what that means. New Age Wicca. I don't know what that is. The leader of the mob is Alex. No, I don't think yeah, maybe. The Salem witch trials actually were not what do you call it? Not homogeneous. They were not natural. What do you call it in the search engine? There is a word for it. SEO. In SEO, there's a word that starts with H. SEO. What do you call it when you're doing the search engine optimization using the most natural? I forgot the word. I'm not gonna find the word now. Okay, I don't want to waste your time. Let's continue reading comments. But the point is, I don't know. Okay, writing letters to your boss. He's giving the caduceus. Yeah, yeah. Also, who does that? Vegan Gains. He always writes letters. That's why I said I'd rather not debate Vegan Gains. I mean, the guy is too dangerous. It's just too dangerous, and that's how the mob takes over. Because it's enough for a good guy to be afraid of the mob, and the bad guy leading the mob. That's it. That's gonna exponentially grow, and before you know it, you're out of. It's minus one civilization. Legend tier. Thank you so much. LOL. Lots of LOLs. Let's see. True or false? Alex and the PWF verse impacted Mrs. Slave's ideas around the woke mind virus being the sad solution to the. I think that's what happened, didn't it? Didn't that happen? I mean, we could trace it in my videos. Didn't it happen? Actually, I don't remember. I think I started considering it before it happened to me, but it might be. Joey Lorenzo, Hitler would use the woke ideology to control his masses in modern times. Basically, you could say that. I mean, he used the hatred of Jews. A lot of leaders use the hatred of Jews to create mobs. It's really it's a very efficient tool, this mob creation. I think someone is behind the woke mind virus mob. I suspect that it's the Chinese government, maybe not Xi Jinping himself. Someone, maybe they're not even aware of it. Maybe it's someone in the FBI, the CIA. Oh, there's many people in many organizations and many individuals who have an incentive to promulgate this mob virus, mob culture virus, mob ideology, woke mind virus. Many people have an incentive. Of course, the leaders and anyone who benefits, anyone who's part of the mob and or enemies of the civilization, so have an incentive to promulgate the woke mind virus. Mr. Slave go back on Hormaxer's next stream. All right. I mean, I thought I would come into Hormaxer like every night just to say hello. I just want to be his friend. That's it. I'm trying to say it wasn't. Thank you. The word organic. Yeah, I was gonna kill myself. Organic. Yeah, I wish I could see the comments in real time, but I can't when I'm scrolling through the history. Twitter definitely, yeah, okay. All right, guys. I really appreciate everybody being with us. It's an hour and a half. It was good stuff. Yeah, I gotta do some work, maybe eat something, and then I gotta go train and then come back. Today's Wednesday, so maybe I'll stream another stream later tonight. I'll give it a shot. Can you say one thing, Mr. Slave? Wait before you go. You're trying to say, yeah, yeah. Tell me what to say. The thing you want me to say. The thing. Can you say, can you say the thing you want to say? We is live. I've started saying we is lifing. We is life. It's better to say, but you gotta say because I. Would it be okay if you showed me your full body? That's what I said. All right. Anyway, guys, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say the thing. Wait, I should have done this. Ugh, there's no point in showing my avatar. It doesn't mean anything. We need the full screen. Someone remind me of this next time. Okay, you said that to Malik. You, fine, fine. I said it to Malik. I unfollowed Malik today on Instagram, if it's worth anything. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm gonna go as usual, kill myself, and I'll see you in the next stream. And have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.